there, it's Lynn here. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thank you. Welcome back. If you're new, welcome. So tonight I'm working in my Strathmore Mixed Media Journal. I'm starting off with my Dylusion paints. I've got just 3 different shades of warm colours. I really like this colour. Let me just see what colour it is. It's Pomegranate Seed. It's really, I love the tones in that one. It's beautiful. So just laying down a base coat, really not thinking about anything too much at this time. This particular colour is Cherry Pie, which is very pretty. The next pink that we'll get to is Rose Quartz. So yeah, just laying down a base colour. I've had another fairly busy week, and I'm going away this weekend, so I wanted to try and get this done as quickly as I could so that I could get it up before I go away. Here's the Rose Quartz, I think, coming in now. I hope you're all well. We're not too bad here. Other than being busy at work, home life's been fairly quiet, plodding along. It's nice to get some time in my studio that's not work related, where I can just get out and slap some paint around. Okay. I'll just dry that off now. Not sure. At this point, I had no plan for this page at all. I was really just, I picked out those colours to start with. I knew at some point I wanted to bring in the Periwinkle colour as well, but wasn't really sure when or how I would do that. So you'll see that comes in a bit later. I actually put the paint on quite thick there. It's taking some time to dry. Okay, that's done. So now I wanted to bring in some texture to the background. I'm going to use my Punchinella. So I've got a sort of medium size one is the first one that I pick. It's not super large, not super small. And I'm just going over the different colours with the same colours that I used in the base coat, but mixing them up so obviously you can see. So light pink on the medium pink there. And then I'll do the dark on the lighter and the medium then on the dark, I think. I can't remember. So Punchinella is also sequin waste. I just bought mine from eBay, I think, from memory. I've had it a very, very long time. So coming back with Cherry Pie, I'm going to go over that on the dark pomegranate. I like to do this where I use the same colours over and over again, but just put them on top of each other. I think it sort of harmonises the piece. Now coming in with the darker pomegranate over the rose quartz here. Not putting it everywhere, but trying to get a decent coverage over most of the area, leaving bits of the background still showing through. Dry that layer off. Now I've got my black and my white out. So I want to bring in some contrast. So I'm still using the Punchinella, but I've gone to a smaller size Punchinella. This is quite tiny, the circles on this one. Just to bring in a bit of variety, but the repetition of the circles I like. I'm trying not to overpower it by putting too much black down, but I want black sort of scattered around it. Just getting my makeup sponge sorted there so I can start working on the white. And for that one, I'm bringing in the largest size Punchinella that I have. I'm just quickly drying the black off because I don't want it to mix with the white. So this is quite a big size difference to the ones that I've been using, and it's the largest size that I have. Again, I'm just scattering these circles around the page. Really not thinking too much about it, just wandering my eye around and thinking, well, where do I want to put it next? Not really thinking about composition or anything. I had still no idea at this point how this page might turn out. I was really just in the moment working on the background, getting painty. Quickly drying that off. Can't quite remember what comes next. We'll have to wait and see together. Okay, so I think sorry, my daughter just knocked on the door and I had to speak with her. She also, when I was making this, not long after this point, knocked on the door and I was talking to her as well. So I think now I've gone to get my ink spray. It's Derivan Ink. I like it because it's permanent when it dries. I really love the colours of dilusional inks, but unfortunately they reactivate all the time and I don't like that. So I've went and bought some Derivan inks and they're permanent when they are dry. So I haven't used this bottle in a little while, so I'm just trying to get it going again. Oh, there we go, it's all going. So I'm just spraying through a bit of gauze. I don't know what it is. It's sort of plastic stencil. I've had it for years. I really like the look of the little squares. I don't know, I've cut it off something. I don't know whether it was a basket or a placemat or something like that. Anyway, I really love it. So I like to use it quite a lot. Just drying that ink off. The colour is magenta from memory. I really am thankful that we have heat tools. Although I do get impatient and do that quite often, where I blot it with paper towel. Now, I think this is where my daughter came in to speak with me, so you'll see the view changes slightly. I'm not sure what happened when I connected my phone back up or restarted videoing, but the zoom changed on it for some reason. Anyway, I'm not sure what I did, but I did something. So now I'm just going back in. I'm still using the same colours that I used before. I've got this little foam stamp. I have no clue where I got it from. I've got a little box with all foam letters and it's got some flowers and whatnots in there that I quite like using now and then. I did try and find my stamps that I've carved myself, but I just can't find them. They're in here somewhere, I'm sure. I just don't know where they are at the moment. So I'm going back in now with white paint and a smaller flower, and I'm really just scattering that around. Still have no idea what any outcome for this page at all. I'm just working on the layers as I go. I start to get an idea in probably the next layer, I think it is. Okay, now I've just got some drawing ink out, and I had some words in my mind while I was sort of working on these layers, so I decided to scribble those over the page. This particular ink is Atelier waterproof drawing ink. Carbon black is the colour, and it dries. It's waterproof, so it doesn't reactivate when you paint over the top of it. So just drying that off. Okay, now I've got, I want to bring in this Periwinkle colour. I thought I was going to use the stamp, but I changed my mind and went back to this stencil-y plastic thing that I have, and just scattered that colour around the background. I really like that colour, it's very pretty. Drying that off. Okay. Oh, I've got a flower stencil. So this is where I start to get an idea about what I might want to do with this piece to finish it off. So I've got out the gold iridescent paint from Pebeo. I think it's called Studio Acrylics. And I'm dabbing through, excuse me, that stencil. Just scattering the flowers around. About halfway through doing this, I think to myself, oh, okay, I might make a garden of flowers then and see how that goes. So that's what I end up doing. But now I'm just sort of scattering them around, getting that first layer down so that I can start to work on them. Dry that off. Lots of drying. I'm so impatient. I'm so grateful for the heat tools, because otherwise I'd go a bit bonkers. So I started trying to use my Posca 0.7 black pen, but I couldn't get it going. I really struggled with it today. So I picked up this one. It's a Permapaque 1.0 millimeter pen. I've had it for a long time. I don't even know if it's waterproof or not. It's water and fade resistant. So I'm outlining and drawing in some stems and leaves. I'm not really happy because it's a bit thicker than what I normally would like to outline things with, but I decide to just keep on going. I'll just outline them all and then see what I feel like doing after that. And it's very old. It's actually lasted quite a long time, actually. So it still works very well, even though I've had it a long time. It's made by Sakura. They're a pretty good brand. Drawing in the leaves now. And I'm not trying at all to do these in any sort of realistic way. They really are just scribbling them on the page at this point in time. Just want to get the leaves on there. And I'll start to fill them in with paint in a second. I've pulled out, what's this one called? Green Yellow Iridescent Green Yellow, again from Pebeo Studio Acrylics. And I'm just filling in those leaf shapes really roughly. I'm going outside the lines. I'm not being particular about, being accurate or careful about what it is I'm doing. I'm just whacking the paint down at this point. Drying that layer off. Coming back in with a second layer there. With this paint, because it is quite translucent, so you do have to do multiple layers if you want it to be more opaque. I think maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 layers of this paint to get the opacity that I like, usually. Drying that off again. Now I've pulled out Liquitex Basics Fluorescent Pink. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to glaze the background. And what I mean by that is I'm just putting a light translucent layer over the top of the background, going around the shapes of the flowers to try and just knock that background back a little bit. You can still see everything that's going on underneath there, but it's just evening out the colour so that the gold and the green leaves pop a little bit from the page. I get to about this point and then I start to think, well, I actually don't want this colour, just one colour behind the whole page. So I decide at this point that I'm going to go get a darker colour and start with the fluorescent pink at the top of the page, and then as it gets down to the bottom part of the page, I'll put in this darker pink, which you'll see me do in a moment. That brand is golden, and it's Quinacridone Magenta, which is a nice, just a deeper pink. I really like it. I use it all the time on in most of my paintings that I do on canvases and things. I just love it, and it is translucent. It's wonderful for glazing. And sort of, putting a translucent layer over the backgrounds. I'm not being particularly careful either, I'm just going around. I know I've got this fast, running at a faster speed, but even so, I'm not really being particularly careful about going around things. I can always paint over. If I do go over the top of something, I can paint over it again in the original colour. I really like how this is really now starting to bring the flowers to the foreground. I'm very happy with the way it's going. So I'm going back in now with the gold again. I think this is about the 3rd layer of gold that I do. There's a few more that we go through, which you'll see coming up. But for now, I'm just going back in and just bringing those colours back in where I might have gone over it with that. With the pink in the background, just to sort of bring those shapes back in. I really am really enjoying the process at this point. I'm very relaxed. I'm really just in the zone, just, really moving around the page, not really thinking too much about anything. I'm certainly not worrying about anything. I'm really just enjoying the process and chilling out, basically, which is what we want, right? Okay, that's layered. The brush I was using there is Princeton Select Round Blender. I love that. I've got a lot of those brushes and I really like them. They're good for those backgrounds. Coming back through, I think now we're on to our 3rd layer on the leaves of the green yellow. I'm still not being very careful. I'm just sort of roughly painting those shapes in, drying all of that off. This is, I think it's orange yellow. Again, iridescent orange yellow by Pebeo Studio Acrylics. What I want to do here is go in the centre of the flowers and just bring that colour out onto the petals just to give it a little bit of dimension, start to bring in a few different layers. I'm really enjoying, again, how the flowers are now starting to come together, come off the page or off the background. That glazing layer has really knocked it back quite a lot. There we go, that one's done. Dry that off. I'm bringing in this colour, what is it? It is Iridescent blue-green. I wanted to have just a bit of a different colour on the leaves as well so that they weren't just all the same colour. So I'm just going around all the leaves and just scattering that colour here and there. I'm not filling in the whole leaf. I'm just putting bits of that blue in different places on the leaves just so that it gives it a bit of, again, dimension and a bit of different colour. Drying that layer off. I'm back using my white, and I want to bring white into the centre again just to give it more shape, bit of highlight. I'm putting some little white dots in the middle with my paintbrush as well. Again, it's just giving it some shape and a bit of depth to the flower so it's not all one colour. Nearly done. I don't know what I did when I hit this wrong button, but it's not focusing properly as well, unfortunately. I'll have to try and figure out what button I actually hit and make sure I don't do that again. That's it for all the white. Just dry that off. Now I've picked up my Pilot G-Tech C4 pen. I think it's a gel pen, I'm not 100% sure, but it's got a really tiny 0.4 tip on it. And I was hoping that it would be enough just to outline the petals and go back and put the stems and outline the leaves. I wasn't too happy with the way it was. It's not working very well on top of the acrylic paint. So I just keep going, but I'm also thinking at this point that I'm not happy with the way it is, and I'll probably, at that point I was thinking I need to go in again and try and find something else to outline it with. It just wasn't enough. It was too fine. I find this I love this pen and I use it all the time, but I tend to use it more on the really flat acrylic paint, or matte acrylic paint, I should say, and watercolour. Works really well on top of watercolour. And it's really good for fine detail, but it's not really doing what I wanted it to do for this particular piece. So you'll see me come back through and try something else in a minute. But I keep going just in case at the end of it I think, oh no, I am okay with it, but I wasn't, so I did continue on. Nearly done. Just going back through, outlining the leaves very quickly. Now, And I did. At that point, I knew I wanted to try going back using my Posca 0.7 black pen. I love this pen. It's in between the fine G-Tech pen and the thicker what was it, the name of it? Permapaque. I always outline with this pen, but I really struggled with getting it to work, unfortunately. But I did get there in the end, and I'm very happy at the end of this with how it turns out. I find it hard to get, well, I think working with paint pens over acrylic is always a little bit testing. You know, it's the nature. But now I'm just putting in my border that I like to do with using an art marker, Marabu art crayon in black, just to scoot around the edges with that. And then I spied my stickles, I think they are. What's this? This is Candy Glitz, Derivan Candy Glitz Crystalina. And I thought, oh, put those in the centre, put a bit of sparkle on the page. Drying that off for the last time, and I'm done. I'd just like to thank everyone that stayed to the end. I've really enjoyed working on this piece. I'm feeling very relaxed, and I hope you all are too. Take care. I'll see you next video. Bye.